Sale High.
And I'm Maccabees Mohajer.
Welcome to our show.
The doctor and the
And the
devil's
devil's
advocate.
advocate.
Absolutely.
Am I allowed to say that?
We're trying to do it faster. It's just
Okay.
we're taking way too much time. And then
Fair enough. We'll just edit that whole part out.
Yeah. I just want to...
We're going to edit the video out and have it be audio.
Absolutely. Just have the... That'd be great if
Yeah.
you do straight MP3. But here's the point. What I want to say to you folks that have written in and said, hey, too much inside stuff, too much... basically talking amongst yourselves, too much just going to one idea to the other idea and so on and so forth. And why don't you guys slow down? Well, the bottom line is there is a lot of ADD activity that's going on between us, and you just give us a few episodes. Meaning if you watch a few episodes, and we've tried to basically bring the episodes and make them shorter so you don't have to spend a lot of time every day with us. But what hopefully will happen, what we think will happen, is that you will kind of get to our cadence. You will understand what we're all about. And I think that will hopefully trigger you wanting to be a part of the journey we're trying to create, which is to stimulate your brain.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're open to talking about stimulation now. In the last episode, you got all red when we started talking about
Stimulation?
Yeah.
Which, the pot stimulation you were talking about?
That's
Hey,
destimulation.
Did you,
actually.
the guy that, did you hear about the guy that was getting taken off the organ list?
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently if you are using marijuana, it can cause immune deficiencies, which then do not make you a deserving candidate for
Renal
certain
failure,
organs.
right?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, so it can make it so that you have different things where the organ that they put in and it gets rejected.
Exactly.
It's just wasted on you.
So basically, this guy who's doing pot for pain management is now taken off the donor list. So literally, pot is going to kill him,
It will, yeah.
unfortunately. And we know that's a joke or that's funny, but hey, that's the bottom line. So the question is this: if the guy took Vicodin for that and became dependent on it, would that be accepted by? So it's interesting how everything is based on what some people decide. Like you always talk about, hey, be careful on these laws because it dictates how things are viewed so far down the line.
That's right. Speaking of which, if we actually start to create laws that affect future generations in a way that we actually are aiming to move forward towards that utopian state, and we accept the fact that we're not going to change necessarily, but the future can change.
Absolutely.
It's very good, and that is when you start the history from now.
Well, that's what I want to talk about this
You can
episode, about
create a-
history.
you can
I want
create
to
a
talk
better
about
future.
history in this episode. And how, have you ever thought that everything that you believe in regards to history that's beyond your ability to go investigate it, is what someone wrote? Now, the further back you go, the further basically maybe it's hearsay, where someone told someone they wrote something down. But even if you look at the history books, you know, they take a character or they take a person who's done certain things. We were not there to see if that person did those things. For example, Gandhi, okay? Revered as the great man of peace, a person who brought freedom to India, a person who solved the Muslim and the Hindu scenario by creating Pakistan and India and went on hunger strikes and freed India from the tyranny of the British colony system and so on and so forth. And everything we read is what they wrote about him. But now there's other stuff that's coming out that's saying maybe he wasn't all that and he wasn't all that. So it's interesting. And again, I don't know enough to, maybe another day we can tackle it. If you do, please talk about it a little bit. But the issue is that it's imperative for us at this age, at this time, that we make sure that what they sell us as history, we question and make sure that that is the right thing. Because
I think
if
you're right.
it goes in people's minds, in 200 years, they go, yeah, this is what Al Salehi said. Al Salehi was a great man who, you know, against all odds, named Ali Abdul Salehi, cut it to Al Salehi and became the President of the United States. You know?
Look, no one wants to be Abdullah when they grow up.
Apparently. They all want to be like Mike. They don't want to be like Abdul, apparently. So that's the bottom line. But interesting, isn't it?
Well, I think what's fascinating in psychology, we have team theory. So one of the things that we always identify with is somehow every person has an affiliation. You grow up, your skin color is a certain color, so
Sure.
automatically you're part of the, for example, white team.
Yes.
And then you get all of the spoils that come with, for example,
Being the white team guy.
Right? Now maybe in addition to being white, maybe you're Jewish. So now you're a white Jewish person, and you have all of, for example,
The
the
things
funny
that come with that.
stereotypes that come with it that you might be proud of, and you also battle maybe negative stereotypes that come with
Yeah.
it too, and you have all of the benefits or detriments that you may have.
Based on what time of the world we're talking about, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not that you are able to necessarily get out of it, because in your mind you always want to affiliate. That's something that is intrinsic, because the first thing you affiliate with is familial. As soon as you're born, you say, okay, I'm here, I live here, this person gives me milk, this person provides resources for this milk to be, I am part of this team.
Yeah.
So your concept of who you are is entirely team driven, and you want it to be that way.
Yes.
You say, I went to this university. I am an alumni of, for
That's
example,
my alma
whatever.
mater, yes.
Yeah, so you're proud of being one of those guys. Now maybe you weren't even an academic, but you believe in their football team.
Yes.
So now I'm a proud whatever.
Shout out my college, baby.
That's What is their mascot? Do they have a mascot?
I have no idea.
No? What would it, I actually am a big supporter of the community college system.
I think they're the Gauchos.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. But anyways, I was joking.
Yeah.
I went to Harvard, as you know.
Of course.
Harvard, Harward.
That's where, isn't that Harry Potter went somewhere like that?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's what I think. I think everyone always talks about there's no I in team. I need to be a team player. But in fact, that's where the initial, what I believe, corruption comes from. And it's a corruption that's innate in our system, because you have no choice. We are always put into this barrel to believe that being part of a team is good.
And you bring it back to
team,
history?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
And
long-winded.
my team needs to be better than your team.
Yes.
If historically you look at these different concepts, everything you talked about is the different teams. You have the Muslim team, you have the Hindu team, you have the British colony team, and they say this, everything's belong, and there's a break between the teams.
And then you have Gandhi, who created his own team.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're simply talking about different forms of teams and what these teams ended up doing. That's it. That's all we have.
I was talking about, here's what I was talking about. I was talking about the coverage of those teams and what you were told about those teams. As simple as you thinking, hey, who's your favorite baseball player per se, or your favorite basketball, or favorite movie star? Movies different because, you can go see the movies, but even with the advent of, let's say, YouTube and so on, you can see these stars, but who did you see live? Or you were born in that era when these things were taking place. It's all historical. Okay, now certain things are more obvious. You look at somebody like Michael Jordan, he had these statistics, so on and so forth, so he's considered the greatest, boom. You have another guy, boom. But when there are certain parts of history that are to a certain extent subjective, not objective, okay? Now, hopefully historians will be completely objective and write whatever they believe was happening from almost a documentarian piece, right? But when it becomes a subjective, because you're trying to get an agenda across, and I believe that happens a lot more as I get older, I see how they're giving messages to create this illusion that this scenario, this person was this. How do we safeguard against that? How do we stop that from happening to us?
Well, I think that, again, the people who came, and I always think of prophets to begin with, like the first thing that goes to my mind, that prophets represent leaders of teams. Yes. And big teams.
You mean manifestations of God?
Well, messengers of God.
Yeah,
messengers of God.
But there's a lot of prophets, but only a few messengers.
Right. So we have these messengers of God who were given credibility because at different times they also performed different miracles.
Per se,
right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to get at. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these were not documented necessarily. For example, there were many publications, major publications around during the time of multiple prophets. Mm-hmm. However, you don't have major newspapers or publications writing about a lot of these miracles that took place. And since the population of Earth was significantly smaller, these kind of non-human or extraterrestrial type activities that were occurring would certainly be major news. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, even if it is false, but the message is a good message,
well, that's
do we then continue moving forward?
That's exactly it. That's when we talk about when you had said that you were talking about Brexit, that people that are voted now saying, what the heck do we do? Well, wait a minute. You cannot have the democracy and then you choose who's smart enough to understand the law to vote the way you want them to vote. Right. Well, that's not democracy, folks. So the bottom line is whether the message is right or wrong. If it is wrong, then it's wrong. But it's so funny, I'm saying that it's so contradictory to what I believe to be the reality of life, which is they believed unequivocally beyond a shadow of a doubt that the world was flat. Yeah. And you could not fly, and that's it.
Shaquille O'Neal actually said something like that last week. He actually said that he believes the Earth is flat.
Okay, well, this shows how
And he's
smart
like-
Shaquille is. But
He's
then-
like, I kept driving and there's no curve.
That's funny. So that's I really love the fact that you're very successful in your day job and you're gonna
Yeah.
keep that because they need like
I'm quoting him.
They need a 7-drink minimum for you to become funny. But
Fair enough.
the issue is that you look at
Actually, I have a good Shaquille O'Neal joke.
okay, go ahead.
I was at
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah,
Important.
no, it's like a real thing.
Okay.
I was because on the camera and off the fixes, I think I got like 2 pillows so that we can actually see eye to eye. Because that's ultimately that's our goal on this show. But
Okay.
Shaquille O'Neal is really tall. You're a pretty tall guy
7
too,
foot-
but he's like
7 foot
ridiculously tall.
7'1", and when he playing,
Yeah.
weight was around 370.
So I went to go see a former president
Mhm.
at a certain hotel
Yes.
in Beverly Hills,
Yes.
and
And you can't tell us who the president was?
well, I don't know. It's not relevant. I don't want to detract from the story.
Okay,
Yeah.
because what's happening with Clinton. Okay, go ahead. No, I understand. No, I understand.
So I went
You
and
don't want to drop that name.
I went and I dealt with this honor and
Former
I came
president.
down. I came down
Bill.
to the to where the valet is.
Yes, and which hotel was this? You
This
can
is-
mention this was before, so you can mention the damn hotel.
This is
so I get a visual.
yeah, Beverly Wilshire.
Beverly Wilshire, okay, where Pretty Woman was shot. It's right on the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and Rodeo Drive. Go ahead.
Correct. So I'm waiting in the valet, and as I'm waiting in the valet, just taking my time. It's kind of a warm day, and I'm just messing with my phone a little bit.
Okay.
And I kind of lean back, and I've never been to this. Is like a really luxurious hotel, and
Yes.
the entire outside is carpeted, and
Yes.
I was like, wow.
The
it's
valet
really
area is right in the middle
Yeah,
of the back.
that's
yes.
right.
Yes.
So then I kind of lean back a little bit to this way, because it's really sunny, and I was trying to get in the shade. I finally get in the shade, and I kind of feel this velvety kind of texture around my neck. And I looked to the side, and I noticed all this carpeting, and I was like, kind of started rubbing my neck. I was like, God, these guys really don't pull any stops. They have like velveting on the poles and everything. And I'm no, I wish.
Oh.
This is where like that 25-cent piece doesn't go down the payphone
Yes, yes.
slot.
It's bent.
That's
Okay.
right. So I was just kind of thinking, oh God, this is. I had a little cramp in my neck, so I was kind of like doing this, and now I'm really getting into it, and I'm just kind of pushing myself. 'Cause I like to experiment. I want to see. I noticed that these poles have a little bit of a give. Like you kind of like push into it, and it's so velvety and nice that it kind of absorbs. You go, God, like wow, this is some really expensive velvet. This is plush.
Plush.
Wow! And I'm just kind of now I want to see how far I can.
Yes.
How much give does this velvet? So now I'm just kind of really pushing myself
Yes.
against this velvet, and I'm just up against this thing, and it feels so wonderful. Finally, I hear somebody call my name, one of my names, and I thought, oh, that's me. So then I just kind of get up after resting, and this took place. This like went on for maybe like 3 minutes.
Okay.
So I was really well rested, and I was doing this, and I take my full body weight off, which is like
good ending, man.
130
Big
pounds.
setup.
130 pounds. I take off.
Don't
I
get out
turn
the
around.
camera. Sit
Oh, yeah,
down,
sorry.
bro.
I turn around, and as I'm turning around to grab my key, my arm hits this what is still to me a huge pole. I just hit this thing, and I was like, wait a minute. And that's at that moment that my body and my mind just starts to regroup, and I'm thinking, this is a weird looking pole. And I'm just kind of looking, and all I see is what now I understand to be like the person's thigh. I think is like at my eye level. And I can't still understand
That's crazy.
what that is. And it's like a full, huge velvet suit. Like it's a 10-foot leather or velvet suit that's just plush.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking, God, this is so weird. Why is there a random torso here? It still hasn't occurred to me that this is a human being. So then I'm just looking, and I can't accept what's happening here, because then it would mean that I've been leaning against some huge guy. That can't be what happened.
So
I'm looking around. Finally, I see it. I start focusing, and I zoom in on this. Like, I look at this belt buckle. I'm like, God, that would be really weird to put on a pole. This can't be a pole. So then I actually look up, and I just keep looking
pan
up.
up.
I keep looking
keep
up.
going and
I
keep going.
actually don't think I ever saw the top, but somewhere up there, I see Shaquille O'Neal standing there looking at me and smiling the whole time. First of all, this guy is so generous.
Oh, he's awesome.
He most likely didn't even feel me doing anything to him. I think he weighs like 4 or 5 times at least what I weigh.
Well, he weighs around 400 pounds. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know when you were there, but his playing weight was around 360,
That's about
370.
4 times what I weigh.
Yeah.
So he probably didn't feel anything.
No.
But he saw this like little guy. And he was just so amused. He just kept looking at me, and just like, and I was like, and I
He
just,
was Willy Wonka, and you were one of the Oompa Loompa guys.
the only thing,
Oompa Loompa.
the only thing I kept trying to say in different ways, stumbling, was the word sorry. It was like, sorry, sorry.
Oh my God.
And the whole time he just kept smiling. He's like, it's okay, little buddy, it's okay. And I was like, no. I didn't know what to say.
You really felt like an ant.
I said to him, I thought you were a pole.
Oh my God.
I thought
so
you were a velvet pole for my resting recreation.
You were the Oompa
and he looked at me
Loompa guy
after, he's
from-
like, I get that all the time.
Yeah.
And then he got in his car and he drove off.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So that's my Shaquille O'Neal.
That's
He's a
wonderful.
cool guy.
You
He thinks the earth is flat, but
You basically ruined the entire thing we were talking about as far as what we believe to be. But what I was saying, very good story by the way, was that whatever we believe to be right today might not be right tomorrow.
yeah.
And so, wow, that means at all times we have to be careful not to allow people to manipulate us for their own gains. And I think that's the key. That's what we're trying to get across. You do not be manipulated by the masses or by the media or by certain individuals that are trying to put things in your head simply because they want you to do something that they will benefit from. Just think about how everything evolves and how everything changes. And that, I think, is the most important thing we can leave you today. Be careful. Who writes history will dictate how we view the world tomorrow. Thank you so much,
The
again,
winners.
my friend.
The winners win history.
That the
They
winners
write
write, the conquerors, the
That's
winners
right.
write. So basically, pretty soon we're going to be writing some serious history.
Tune in and find out what happens in the future in the next episode.
Hopefully, we'll have Shaq one day.